Speaking of things that are hilarious, my Bank of America made a mistake on one of my accounts.
Oh.
And I have a check at home from Bank of America for 16 cents. I cannot wait to cash that thing.
It costs them more to send it to you.
Exactly.
Why don't they just direct deposit it into your account?
I'm not sure
and then
what
just
it
be
was
like,
for.
Sorry, we made a mistake.
It's just so funny. I don't know. I guess they have to do that. Thinking that this guy will never cash this. I can't wait to get. I was like, I want this in pennies.
What I find most amazing about off the video from last week was that people interpreted that we were saying take EJ Gaines or take Josh Norman over EJ Gaines. I'm just saying that Washington's probably looking to get rid of Josh Norman.
Mm-hmm.
Like I have that feeling in my bones, and they could shed some cap. They're going to lose Cousins probably anyway. Norman wasn't that great. He doesn't have great speed. He's always kind of dependent on system to be successful. He is expensive.
He's his own corner.
And Gaines is great, but Gaines came here with the same question marks as Watkins did. Here's a guy who was touted, injured all the time, and we saw him banged up. He didn't play every snap. But it's the NFL, man. Nobody plays every snap.
No.
But would I rather spend $6 million on Gaines or $11.5 on Norman? I don't know. Honestly. Gaines didn't come here because he wanted to come here. Gaines came here because he got traded here.
Yes.
So, as a player, what kind of impact does that have? Like a player that gets traded here. Matthews is the same way. We have the same problem with Matthews. People want to say, oh, we'll re-sign Jordan Matthews. Oh, we'll re-sign EJ Gaines. What promises were made to them? None. They didn't come here. They didn't come on a free agent visit. They didn't choose to sign here. They got traded here. So how does that impact re-signing that player? How does this season made it different? Let me rephrase that question. How has this season made it different getting a free agent or a player that you have retained to re-sign?
Well, the thing is, when they're traded, the team that they're traded from, they may be like, oh, you don't want me here. So the flip side of that is, wait, Buffalo wanted me here. They think I could play. They think I could be productive. So that being said, because the team that they got traded from just could have just cut them. Like, oh, well, let's try to get what we can out of you. But there was like, Buffalo's like, we want you here. We think you could be productive here. You fit in our system. That's I think is the biggest chip of all, other than everything else. I mean, depending on what promises were made to him, hey, if you're able to start this many games, we'll re-sign you. What you talk about a guy who very positive, influence in the community. A lot of people like him. Great team player.
Yeah.
For his Bills career to end with him not knowing the game was over yet.
That was brutal.
That sucks. That's just awful. I mean, it's despite what your opinion of Tyrod Taylor is. Now, my opinion of him was always been football based. I always looked at it as, how are his reads? What reads is he making? Is he only making half field reads? Is he making full field reads? The first year he came in, everyone was talking about why won't he throw over the middle? Well, he's not reading over the middle. He's doing one read and out. And
he's improved that part of his game this year. So
absolutely.
That's a huge improvement.
But I think people tend to be the difference that people tend to do is, you look at a lot of the pro Tyrod guys that really like him are like, listen, he doesn't turn the ball over. Well, to me, if you have a number of 3 and outs, then people start saying, well, the defense couldn't stop anybody. Well, defense is on the field for 18 straight minutes because you did 3 and outs. You know what I mean? Yeah, you're not turning the ball over and you're forcing the other team to go 75 yards, but your defense can't be on the field that much. So while in the stat sheet it looks like, the first half stats, the Bills are losing 14-0. Tyrod is 7 for 11 for 68 yards. No picks, though. You can't do that.
Right.
So that's where a lot of my my feeling that the Bills have to move on from him because even though he is taking care of the ball, which is a great asset, he's not moving the ball down the field with consistency.
If their intention was to keep Dennison, it's either Tyrod or Dennison. You have to move on from one of them first, and then kind of look to see what your options are after that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I feel the organization felt that no matter who the quarterback was, Dennison was not going to be successful. So you move on from the least successful piece first, right? You let go of Dennison right away, like as soon as the year was over.
Yeah.
They let him go, and they weren't messing around. They said, "That's it, we're done." And Tyrod could still find success as a player. Now, where that's going to be, I'm not sure. But if you're drafting a quarterback and you're going to bring in another quarterback anyway, because you're going to, this organization's not going to not sign somebody. They're going to sign at least 2 other quarterbacks because you want to have 4 quarterbacks going to camp. So they're going to sign at least 2 more quarterbacks and draft somebody.
Mm-hmm.
You have to imagine. So with the money that you're going to save by cutting Tyrod, you're probably going to spend on insert name of quarterback here plus 1.
Yeah.
Okay.
How much different is the cutting versus trading him?
So if you trade him, it accelerates all the money onto the cap. So like if you post June 1st cut Taylor, it saves like $15 million this year. But that's money you have to take on the chin down the road, right? So you're splitting that amount. If you cut him now, it saves 9. Pretty sure that's the number. If you cut him now, it saves 9. If you post June 1st, cut him, it saves 15. But again, you're just pushing that money into later years. If you trade him, it's just like a pre-cut.
All right, because my thought.
But they have to do that by the 3rd or 4th day of the league year because there's a roster bonus that's due. And if they trade him, the team that picks him up is immediately going to pay $6 million for him. He's immediately going to count $6 million against the cap with him literally never throwing a football in their facility.
Here's the thing, though, and this is why I asked about the Dennison firing, and this is why I asked about Tyrod, is the fact that now the Bills have Tyrod as an insurance policy.
Yeah.
Okay? If they need him, they have him. Okay, we got this guy right here. If we can't get rid of him, we can't get rid of him. Or if they're trying to, I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
But the other thing is, the thing that you do when you fire Dennison so quick is it gives you a bargaining chip with other teams because other teams may really like Tyrod. And then firing Dennison that quick says, listen, it wasn't Tyrod's fault. He's all right. So it was the OC that couldn't work with him. Maybe you guys have an OC in your facility that could work with him. How quickly do you want to make a deal?
Respectfully, I disagree. And the reason I disagree is because market value for Tyrod was highest last year, right? Even though we made the playoffs this year, he got sat, right? At some point this season, he got sat. So when the option was on the table last year, it is like a verified fact that Tyrod's agent contacted teams and there wasn't much of a market for him, and his value was higher last year than it is this year. So I can't see that teams are willing to immediately inject that kind of money into him for 1 year, because that's what you're doing is you're buying 1 year of Taylor, and okay, sure.
What do we say about guys on contract years though?
Yeah, I understand they perform, but Tyrod's been in a contract year the last 3 years.
Yeah.
With the way his contract's been structured and the way the Bills and that relationship have gone, he's been in a contract year for 3 years. So, respectfully, I have to disagree. Mm-hmm. Tyrod does not really have a trade market that you're going to get anything for, right? If you want to trade him and you want to trade him for a 4th or 5th round pick, that is up to you. That is completely your call. Mm-hmm. You're going to save money on that deal. If you just want to cut him, okay, you're going to save money on that deal too. Either way, the Bills are saving money by not having to pay Tyrod to be on the team. However, the question becomes, does that fit your plan not only this coming season, but the next year? How does Tyrod fit into the team concept 2 or 3 years down the road? What impact can he make in 2018 that's going to impact 2019 and 2020 when he's not on the team? I don't foresee Tyrod being on this team. I just want to lay that out right now. Mm-hmm. But I don't think that there's any way that a team would say they would rather trade for him than let the Bills cut him and take their chance on the free agent market. If a team like Denver was interested in him, Denver's not going to trade for him. They have no reason to trade for him. They're just going to wait till he hits the market and go with it, because everybody knows the Bills have their backs in a corner regarding Tyrod Taylor. That's it. I don't foresee a trade market for him, because if there was, his value was higher last year.
Yeah, but you said that his value was higher last year. Could McDermott been one of those guys that wanted him the most and said his value to this team? Because you got to think about it. A lot of first-year coaches, they'll either draft their quarterback or they'll take the incumbent for a year.
Yep.
And then until they can get their guy. Obviously, Dennison wasn't the OC here. That was going to be long-term because of what happened. All right. Perhaps Tyrod isn't the long-term answer here in Buffalo. So he came in with the thought process of, it's easier for me to fix a defense than an offense, and have a young quarterback come in with an established defense, just in case the offense doesn't click right away. My defense could pick up the slack every once in a while. And I didn't think he expected that to happen in year one.
See, I look at McDermott's. I look at McDermott's path much like most people look at when they buy a house, right? You have this big chance that you're taking. You're betting on yourself that your life's going to go the way that you plan for quite some time when you buy a house. So what do you do that first year? You put off expenses that you could change but don't really have to change. You have a washer and dryer, they move from your apartment. You don't really have to buy a new one. This one will get you through for a while. But you know that as soon as it's in the budget, you hate that damn washer and dryer, you're going to go get your own, right? So, unfortunately, I look at Tyrod Taylor of a similar circumstance. Is it time to replace a piece that has been functional?
Essential piece.
I don't think Tyrod is what makes this offense tick. That is clearly LaShawn McCoy. And unfortunately this year, Tyrod proved that without LaShawn McCoy, Tyrod is not very good. Tyrod cannot win you a game.
Mm-hmm.
So, but is his value to the team still retained by the fact that your 1B option is what? Who are you going to go get? Alex Smith? You'd have to trade for him right now. Drew Brees is a free agent, but there's no way he's leaving New Orleans. A.J. McCarron's a free agent. Mark Sanchez is a free agent. You could probably get Paxton Lynch from the Broncos. I mean, I'm not naming options that are great here.
No.
So what is your best plan? Is it to retain Tyrod because it's the devil you know and just deal with it? Or is your best option to go look for something else and completely change it again? Now, McDermott and Bean have proven that just changing everything is not that big a deal to them.
No.
They don't have a problem just whitewashing everything and bleaching the locker room and just retaining the mainstays. While Tyrod is a great piece to the community, I don't think that he is looked at as an essential piece of the offense, nor should he be. When he complete 13 passes in the playoff game, like, come on. I think it is time for the organization to move on, but that doesn't mean they're going to. I just want to discuss, does he still retain value?
He does.
Outside of the fact that we know what he is, right? Mm-hmm. And does drafting a quarterback still make him viable? Or is that the reason the Bills have been where they are for the last 20 years? Is because they make decisions like the one that I mentioned. You hold on to Tyrod and then just, we'll just get another year out of him. And then we'll draft somebody and then we'll,
Well, the previous 17 years, they've treated the symptoms, not the disease.
Yeah.
So you try to get all these tools around the quarterback that you have, but the quarterback that you have is subpar.
Well, and isn't it interesting? Think of the last 17 years, right? How many first-round quarterbacks have the Bills drafted?
First round?
First round.
Lossman?
Yep.
Manuel?
Yep. End of list. And you wonder why they haven't been very good. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying the Browns are where you want to go either, but there's some organizations that aren't afraid to keep swinging for the fences and just keep bringing in guys. Yeah. Seattle did that. Seattle didn't have a quarterback. They spent a third-round pick on Russell Wilson, and they spent a fortune on Matt Flynn that year. And they didn't care. They're like, well, Wilson's the better quarterback, so we're just going to start him. But it was a carousel. You just keep bringing guys in. And there's other organizations that do it, and it's a lottery. So I understand that retaining Taylor doesn't get you the future quarterback, but it's not a hateful situation. It's not Deshaun Kaiser. It's not Zach Mettenberg. It's not, I know. It's not Kevin Cobb. It's not. He's not them.